Welcome to this online lecture, and today we'll be covering part 2 of lesson 4 of unit 2 on Arabic letters and consonant symbols, okay? Now you'll notice that I'm saying consonant symbols instead of vowel symbols, and that's because the symbols that we're going to be covering today mainly sort of deal with consonants, okay? So they're kind of acting on consonants mainly than vowels, and Brother Dawood will actually clarify this more with you. So let's just do a bit of a recap of what we learned in the previous online lecture. So we talked a bit about the short and long madda, right? I'm just going to review them briefly. So you have the short madda, which looks like this. So you have the placement of the letter, and then you have a vertical dash placed above that letter. And that is going to make the short stretched sound, okay? Or that A vowel or the WH, okay? And then for the long madda, it looks like this, so the placement of the letter again. And I'm just drawing the madda as it is in the Quran. Okay, so this really sharp kind of appearance. Again, my drawing is not perfect because of the trackpad. And then you have 3 A's. Okay, so again, I'm not saying that you say A 3 times as how to stretch this vowel, okay? So again, Brother Dawood will clarify this. The only difference I'm going to tell you to make it simplified and easy to understand is that the long madda makes a longer A or sound than the short madda, okay? Because the short madda makes the short vowel sound. So today we're going to be talking about something that's a bit different, and that is the 2 consonant symbols and a letter, okay? So we have the Shaddah and the Suqoon that mainly act on consonants in the Arabic alphabet. So for example, letter Sin, letter Sod, letter To, letter Ra, etc. And letter Fa, okay? And then the letter Hamza. So the Hamza is actually, because if I said Hamza was a symbol before, just never mind that, because I read and I've confirmed that it is a letter. And Brother Dawood will also talk about this with you. So some people have been confused whether the Hamza is a symbol or letter or not. So some people may say it is a symbol, some people say it's a letter, but Hamza would be a letter because it does have fatha. It can have a fatha over it. It can have a sukoon over it, which we'll be talking about. It can have the sukoon there. But let's start off with the Shaddah. So the Shaddah is actually a symbol that, I'll just use a different color, as shown over here. It looks like a bit of a W, a diagonal oblique W, placed above the letter, okay? So let's say our model letter for the day is the letter Sin. So it's going to make a S sound, okay? And again, up here, these 2 pieces of text above here that I'm underlining, the Shaddah would make a doubled letter sound, right? Or in this case, you have the letter, you multiply it by 2, you have 2 letters, which making a double sound. So since the letter Sin makes the S sound, with this Shaddah, the letter Sin would make the double S sound, right? So the S dash S. But now let's look to this example here, because the sounds only work when you see the Shaddah in a group of letters, or in a word, I should say, okay? So let's start off by reading this here. We're mainly going to be focusing on this part here, but I'm going to start by reading this entire phrase here to give you some context. So this is the letter Ha. It has a Dhamma on top. It's going to make the Hu sound, okay? Then you have a letter Mim with a Fatha above it. That's going to make a Ma sound, alright? Letter Za or Zain with a Fatha above it makes a Za sound. And then this looks like a Ha, but it has 2 dots on top. And anything with 2 dots on top would indicate a letter Ta, okay? So letter Ta, and you notice that there's a double kasra beneath that. That's also called a kasra then, okay? And that makes the thin sound, right? It's because the double kasra or kasra thin makes the in sound, so you're making a thin sound. But since we have a letter lam here with the shadda and a dhamma, we know that the letter lam with the shadda and this dhamma is going to make the lu sound, right? So we don't have to worry about this now. We're only focusing on this whole picture then, okay? On the right side of this. So instead of saying thin, I'm actually going to say connect the letter ta and go straight to this letter lam with the shadda and dhamma. So I'm going to say, instead of thin, I'm going to say tillu, right? Tillu. Because the shadda, what it does is it causes the letters before it to ignore their sign. So we're still kind of including this kasra, this double kasra sound, like the a part of it, but we're not saying in. We're saying il. All right, so we're almost following this double kasra with the sound, with the a sound as an in, but not quite. And for example, if this double kasra was up here, okay, let's say it was on top of this double on top of this letter ta, we would say tallu, right? Because remember, the double kasra, the double fatha, this is the double fatha, makes the un sound, right? And to connect the letter ta, to connecting these two together, we would say tallu, right? So we're still making the sound in the un sound, almost, but not quite. So we're almost following through, but we're going straight to the next letter, if that makes sense. And we'll clarify this more when we get to class, or you can even ask Brother Dawood about this, okay? But in general, if this was, since we're focusing on the, let me just go back, since we're only focusing on the double kasra here, we're saying tillu, okay? And let me write that down. Tillu, okay? So you have T-I-L dash L-O-O, all right? So the L here, dash L. So this dash is actually connecting both these L's and causing this bouncing effect, so that you see that you make the sound of a letter twice, as if it's kind of like of an elastic kind of sound. Okay. The next concept is the Suqoon. Okay, so this is a letter sound only. Okay, so we're only making the sound of the letter in the alphabet. Now this is mainly for consonants as well. This mainly only applies to consonants because you'll rarely see the Suqoon here with a vowel sound. And remember, the Suqoon looks like this here. It has a circle here. But the Suqoon may also be indicated by, it may also look like this. It may also look like, it looks like a comma, right? In English. It may also look like that, which is also positioned above a letter. Okay, so just be careful not to say that this, to confuse this with a dhamma, all right? So this, because it's filled in, whereas a dhamma looks like that, all right? So it's a letter sound only. That means that based on the sound equation here, you're just making the sound of whatever letter there is. So for example, if I have a letter meme, and I add that to a Suqoon on top here, I'm going to get this. And it's going to make a m sound, right? Like the letter M. So the sound, yes, again, letter M sound, just the sound of this letter itself, all right? So mostly the majority in the Quran, you'll see the symbol like this, right? On top of a letter. It looks like a little comma, filled in comma. Now, if we look at the next sound, the Hamza, well, sorry, the letter. This is actually a letter now that we're going to be getting to. Now, the Hamza will make the sound, okay? So the A or the UH sound. Depends on whatever makes more sense to you. And the Hamza looks like this, right? Looks like a bit of a hook over here with a little thing. Looks a bit of an iron there. Now if I put the Dhamma, if I put a Dhamma on top of the Hamza, which in this case, the Hamza can also appear above letters, right? Let's say I have a letter Ba over here, okay? Or maybe that's probably not the best thing to put. Brother Dawood will clarify this more. But in general, you can see that the letter Hamza can be placed above letters and that they will have, or yeah, they will have, the Hamza will also have a vowel symbol on top of it. So it makes that oo sound, right? So the Hamza with the Dhamma will make an oo sound. Now, let's say the Dhamma also has, sorry, the Hamza has the Suqoon on top. So let's say I'm going to draw this kind of Suqoon, okay? This kind of Suqoon. Looks like the little comma there. And I have a letter Wow beneath the letter Hamza, okay? I'm actually going to make the O sound, right? And this will make sense on the next slide, but what I'm doing is the letter, because the letter Hamza makes the sound, right? This Suqoon is interrupting that sound, so it's making an sound, okay? If that makes sense. And again, the letter Hamza in the Quran, you also see it will have a kasra beneath it, and it may also have a fatha above it, alright? It may also have the double kasra and double fatha, as you might see in the Quran. Okay. Lastly, we have a phrase. It's a bit blurry, but just kind of work with me on this. So I was just going to show you the previous example that I was showing you here. So if we look over here, you see the letter meme. This is a letter meme, okay, and it has a dhamma on top of it as the loop over there. So it's making a moo sound. But then we have a letter wow over here. And then you have a Hamza, letter Hamza on top of this letter wow. And then you have a Suqoon. So just ignore all this here. Ignore this meme over here that I'm also, this meme over here. Just ignore that for now. So instead, and you'll notice that this is actually the letter wow madda, right? Do you remember the letter wow madda when you have a dhamma plus the letter wow, making that ooh sound, right? But in this case, we're not going to make that ooh sound because we have a letter Hamza on top of the wow. That's going to sort of interrupt that ooh sound. Because remember, the letter Hamza with the Suqoon comma makes the sound, right? So instead of saying moo, I'm going to say mo, right? This whole phrase reads walil mu'minina. Okay, walil mu. So you're not saying mu, you're saying mu. All right, because this Hamza with the Suqoon, again, I'm repeating myself again to help you understand, makes that sound or that interruption. So this always interrupts everything. But that concludes this online lecture, and in the next lecture, and hopefully this should be clarified by Brother Dawood even more, we will continue to review this material, and then later on we will get to actually reading Arabic phrases from Surah Fatiha, or verses from Surah Fatiha, bit by bit. But thank you for your attention, and have a good weekend.